Welcome to a quick look at the Mechitecture Edition DLC for House Builder, a first-person building simulation game. I'm Ravvy of Ravvy Plays Games, and I've played several of the House Builder DLCs so far. I am a fan of reuse and recycle concepts, so I was intrigued by this DLC, where we get to upcycle a train car, a plane, and a boat into houses. All three builds are located in the same map location. Each build must be completed in order to unlock the next one, so we'll start with a look at the train car. The first steps in upscaling this train car are cutting openings for windows and doors, removing the interior furniture, digging a location for a basement/patio, and putting up the framework for the walls that we're going to add. Some of the windows required for the build are provided on the lot, and then we're prompted to order more from the store. This is one of the spots that caught me a little bit because in other DLCs and in the base game, there is a store that you open through a menu and the items are delivered to your job site. In this DLC, however, there is a store location that we have to drive to with our pickup truck. It turns out there were already windows sitting there waiting for me at the store, so I didn't need to order them from the online shop, but that's okay. We can just sell anything that we don't use at the end of the job and get some money back. Then it was time to break up my chainsaw, cut down some trees, and process them into planks using one of the tools on site. I do have the benefit of increased efficiency during this process due to finishing levels in the base game that helped me build out my skill tree. The planks were used to build a patio on top of the basement we dug out earlier, as well as to make some flower beds for making the place look nice. The process of using power tools or a hammer in the assembly process in this game is a difficult one for me. These processes require good aim with a steady hand, all while holding the mouse button down. Having to do too much of this process tends to wear out my hands, even though my skill tree has made it slightly less difficult. After that, it was time to install the interior walls, give the outside a facelift with a little bit of paint, assemble the windows and doors, and ta-da! Job done. Time to move on to the next one. Now that we've completed the train makeover, the airplane location opens up for us. We'll go ahead and purchase that and jump into this job. The airplane that we are planning to upcycle is not on our job site. There is a large crane, however, and several supports that need to be installed by crane before we can go get the airplane. Once the supports are in position, we can see where we're going to be placing the sections of the plane. The section to plane is located just past where we were picking up our ordered goods last time. As you can see, we have a semi-truck available to us and a crane to load the parts of the plane onto the semi-truck. I haven't driven a semi-truck in this game before, so that's going to be interesting. I was definitely taking some wide turns on the return trip, but I made it there eventually. And it's back to being a crane operator so that we can get the back half of the plane onto the supports that we have installed. Luckily for me, the crane controls in this game are pretty generous and take care of a lot of the work for you. The next step is building up the entryway so that we can access the interior of the plane. This job requires planks, just like the train job did. However, we're provided with several pre-cut and debarked logs to use at the tool. One issue I did encounter during this job is that every time I used my builder's sense, which is the Z key, to highlight where the materials were that I needed for the next step, it kept highlighting this wood for the planks or the planks and not the stuff that I needed for the actual step I was on. In this build, the planks are used to create the floor inside the airplane. Thanks to my skill tree, the planks are automatically cut to size, and I'm able to gather the cut off pieces and use them to complete the flooring. With the tail section of the plane mostly complete, it was time to go pick up the nose section of the plane. Things got a little awkward when the semi-truck decided to put itself into the ground. I had to stop the game, submit a bug report, and pick up where I left off. After restarting the game, I returned to the location where the nose of the plane was, and the semi was back and above ground, so I was able to proceed. With both the tail and nose of the plane in place, I created a hallway between them and had to put these metal arches and screw them in above that little hallway section. It was time to take the semi back to the other crane to get the wings of the airplane, and sure enough, we were in for some more adventures. The semi started to act like it was going to go underground again, flipped itself over, grabbed part of the airplane and attached it to itself, and then began to fly around the map. I did have to restart the game again because when the truck finally did land, it was out of bounds and I couldn't get to it. Once I restarted, however, everything was just fine. For some reason, the game had me load both wings onto the truck despite the build only calling for one. I'm not sure what that was about, but it's all good. It looks cooler when we drive around with both wings loaded like this. Now we just add the final touches to our airplane build, and the job is done. Don't forget to sell your excess materials before leaving the job site so that you can get some money back in your bank account. Alright, now that we've completed the airplane job, the boat job is available for us to purchase and begin. We start the boat job with some rebar foundation formers in the back of our truck. We'll take those to the job site, dig out the foundation, lay the rebar down, and fill it with cement. You'll have to use the cement mixer to mix the cement. Now it's time for some more brickwork. We're going to build up the walls of the structure with the bricks that are provided here on the site. As I mentioned before, the brickwork goes pretty quickly for me in this game because of skills that I developed on previous levels. Since I've mentioned that skill tree a couple of times, let's take a quick look at it. You can view your skill tree by pressing N. There are a variety of skills that receive benefits from having completed levels where you build up some skills with them. Most of these skills consist of becoming faster or more effective at using tools or doing a skill. I'm quick at laying bricks. When I cut trees, I get more trees from each tree that I cut, in addition to it coming debarked when I cut it rather than having to do that process manually. In the plane job, we saw that when I put down planks, they were automatically cut to size for me and I was able to use the cutoff. These are all things that come from playing other levels in the base game and building up this skill tree. Speaking of cutting trees and making planks, we're going to be doing that to create the floor in the house structure for the boathouse. Notice we still haven't attached the boat to the house. We are just building up the structure that we're going to place the boat adjacent and onto. Once again, it's time for a little bit of crane work. We're going to go ahead and pick up the boat and attach it to our build. Unlike the other builds, it feels like this boat was a little bit less integrated with the structure that we're building around it, but it is very close by and you're able to easily access it. We'll finish up this job by putting on the roof and the windows and doors. For initial placement, there's a blue outline showing where objects need to be placed. For things like windows and doors that require some additional assembly, that will turn to green once the object has been placed inside the frame. Then you'll need to click on the green to initiate the assembly process. It's generally a fairly simple process, such as holding down your mouse, moving your mouse along with the item as it slides into place. For this job, I did end up having to employ the scaffolding in order to finish the roof. The scaffolding was pretty effective and it was easy to utilize on this job. Some of the jobs where I've had to use the scaffolding, it's hard to work around the bars on the side and get the right angles to work. So sometimes I tend to put off using the scaffolding unless I really need to on a level, and this is a level where I definitely had to. I was not able to access these two side triangle areas in order to finish the job without the scaffolding. But there you have it, mission accomplished. We have upcycled a boat, and an airplane, and a train car. I hope that you've enjoyed this first look at the Mechitecture DLC for House Builder with me today. Overall, I had a fun time upscaling these various vehicles. While I did encounter a few bugs that slowed me down here and there, it was generally a pretty solid DLC for the House Builder collection. I've put the Steam store link in the video description. Let me know which of these builds you like best down in the comments, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for more relaxing game videos. Until next time, take care of yourself, be well. Bye for now from Ravvy at Ravvy Plays Games. See you soon!